Hey, what's up? I'm Norris. And whenever you see me, just know wifey is extremely busy. And today we'll be doing her latest Mimi G style simplicity pattern 9636 View C, the hoodie. Now, if you're new to sewing and just need a refresh course, you can click the sewing basics video linked in the description box below. Now, because this is not a learn to sew video, if you need more instructions than that, you should sign up for our sewitacademy.com, which you get the first 5 courses for free when you sign up for the free trial. All right, let's get started. Okay, once again, like I said, we're using Mimi G style simplicity pattern 9636. And it is a hoodie with 2 different versions and also a pair of leggings. Now, if you look to the back, you'll see suggestions for fabric across the top, any notions that you'll need, and then also with the sizing, you can also look at the finished garment measurements to get a close enough size that you want. Just so you know, the hoodie is a more of a relaxed, oversized fit, and the leggings is something that you do want to actually get to your measurement. So wifey wants to do view C. So we're going to be doing the one over here, but we will be using the patch pocket from the front onto this one right here. So there's no placements for that. You can transfer the placements from the first one and get them as close as you can to that one, but I'm just going to put it in a place where I think it looks nice and I'm going to sew them on. But other than that, everything else is going to be exactly the way it was meant for it to be outside of the patch pocket in the front. Okay, so we're going to need pattern piece number 8. This is a front facing. You want to cut 2 of these. And then we're going to be using pattern piece number 7, which is the front facing, and you're going to cut 2 as well. Pattern piece number 9, this is the front band. You want to cut 1 on the fold. Pattern piece number 10, which is the back band. You want to cut 1 on the fold here. And like I said, this one right here is optional. This one don't go for the view C that we're doing, but if you want to cut it out and use it, you can. This is pattern piece number 2, the pocket. You want to cut 1 of these out of fabric. Next, we have pattern piece number 5. Now this is the front, and you want to cut 1 of these on the fold here. Next, pattern piece number 6. This is the back. You want to cut 1 on the fold right here. And then last but not least, pattern piece number 4 is the hoodie. You want to cut 2 of these. All right, so once you cut all of your fabric out of your pattern pieces, we could begin order of construction. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is work on a patch pocket. Now, this is for either view, depending on if you want to add it to the other look. So what I'm going to do first, turn it wrong side facing up, and then for the pocket openings, which are right here where the curves are at, we're going to do a double fold that equals out to 5/8 of an inch. So we're going to turn it and then turn it one more time. Now you can give this a good press after you fold it, or you can pin it, and then you just want to head to the machine and you want to top stitch, catching the fold underneath. All right, so you want to do it to this side and also to that side the same exact way, and come back and we'll continue. Okay, so I'm back from the machine, and as you can see, I went ahead and finished off the pocket openings very clean. And then on the top of the pocket, I folded down the seam allowance, which is 5/8 of an inch, and then on the side, and then on the bottom, it gave it a good press. Now this right here is a fleece. Now it might not press as good as I say like a cotton or something, but once you press it, it will crease and you will know where to place it. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I have made markings for myself because this pattern piece doesn't come with this particular pocket. All right, so as I put it down, I'm going to pin it so it can lay flat. And just so you know, wifey is going to be color blocking this entire look with 3 colors. And this right here is our front piece. So you will be seeing a few different colors. Okay, once you have it nice and straight, you want to egg stitch across the top, and then egg stitch starting at this side here, pivot at the bottom, and then pivot right here on this side, leaving these sides right here open. So do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, now that we have our patch pocket nicely placed, and if you didn't do that, you can just skip this step and just go on to the next step. Now you're gonna grab your front and back, and we're going to pin them across the shoulders, okay? So there should be a notch. You can pin there first. Okay, so now we're gonna head to the machine and we're gonna stitch across our shoulders using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Do that, come back and we'll continue. Okay, so now we're back from the machine, went ahead and attached the shoulders and we pressed our seams open. I'm gonna put this to the side for just a moment and we're gonna work on our hoodie. Now with our hoodie, we have a placement where we do the buttonhole. And on that placement, you want to put a piece of square interfacing just so you can have a little bit more stability right underneath that when we do the buttonhole. But first, we're going to put them right sides facing. Then there should be 3 notches in the back. We're going to pin across the curve here. Okay, let's head to the machine and we're going to stitch starting on this end and going all the way up until we get here using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So do that, come back and we will continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine. And as you can see, I went ahead and pressed my seam open, as you can see on the inside. And then also I did my buttonholes. Now you should do your buttonholes, whatever instructions you have on your manual for your machine, but now is the time to do that. And then also I went ahead and around the top part of my hoodie, I went ahead and pressed under a 1/4 inch. Now there's a fold line which is here too. Now that fold line is 1 1/4 inch. So we fold in a 1/4 and then for that inch we fold like this, which creates a casing. All right, and then basically what we do is we're gonna fold at that fold line right there, and then on the other end we're going to pin, catching the fold underneath. Now if you have a seam gauge, this is perfect to just make sure you're consistent with 1 inch, and then you can pin. Okay, now that you have it all pinned, now we're going to stitch on the top stitching all the way along the top, creating that casing, and you want to make sure to catch that fold underneath. Okay, so go ahead and do that, come back and we will continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine. As you can see, we have a nice casing and it is stitched catching the fold underneath very nicely. So next what we're going to do is you should have 2 large dots in the front, and then basically what we're going to do is we're going to take our center fronts of the hoodie and just overlap them and matching up the big dot. But honestly, if you just make sure that your casing is lined up, that's pretty much what it should look like, and make sure that your buttonholes are even. And I'm going to pin right there, and we're just going to head to the machine and we're just going to base down the bottom here. Okay, so do that, come back and we'll continue. Okay, now that we have the hoodie based right here in the front, I'm going to turn it wrong side out like this, and I'm going to overlap it onto our hoodie, and we're just going to match up notches. Turn it around like this. So there should be 2 notches indicating the back. You want to pin there first. There should be a notch for that side seam there, so you can match it up. It's actually a dot, but I put a notch there. So if you have a dot right there, that's going to be your shoulder seam. Okay, so we're back from the machine, and once you turn it right side out and give it a good press, you'll see your hoodie attached very nicely. So next we're going to put our casing in. Now, I didn't open up the buttonhole yet. I'm going ahead and do it right now. Snip right here. Be very careful. And then usually I just take like a safety pin or something and pin that. And then I'm going to shift it through one end. And then once you get to the other buttonhole, you just pull it through. And now you have your drawstring added. Now the ones we have these little tabs to stop it from going through. So if you have those, you can apply that too. Okay, so now we're going to finish off the side seam. So we're going to turn this right side out, wrong side out, right side facing. I'm just going to work on one side. Be sure not to catch your hoodie. So we're going to pin at that notch here. Okay, so we're gonna pin the other side seam the same exact way, and we're just gonna stitch here and along here, stopping at the bottom using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right, so do that and do the other side the same exact way. Come back and we'll continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine, and then you can see that I stitched that little side open here. We're gonna leave this right here free for those side bands. But for right here, you want to make some little clips, some little small triangles, just so we can have it lay flat. So now you can head to your pressing station, and you can take this seam and press it open. Okay, just like that. All right, so you want to do the other side the same exact way. So do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, now that we have our side seam nice and pressed and finished up until here, I'm gonna put this out the way for just a moment, and I'm gonna grab our front and back facings. Now the pink one is the front one, and the orange one is the back one. My wife is color blocking, so she's wanting to keep those colors together. But if you can just find that notch and pin in the center, you want to stitch across right here using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. You want to do the other one the same exact way and come back and we'll continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine. I went ahead and pressed that seam open, and then also I went ahead and serged around the outside. Okay, so next we're going to pin it on that side seam right here, making sure that that seam matches up. And there should be a notch indicating the front and then a notch indicating the back. Okay, so we're going to pin the other side the same way, and then we're just going to stitch starting on one side, stitching all the way to the other side using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine, and I went ahead and trimmed my seam allowance and then also made little clips in here. So next what we're going to do is we're going to keep it just like this for right now, and we're going to move on to our front and back bands. All right, so the longer one is the back, and then the shorter one is the front. So we're just going to turn these right sides facing just like this. We're just going to turn them like that, and we're going to stitch on the sides here, here, and then here using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine. I went ahead and stitched on both ends. And I'm just gonna trim just a little bit. Just a little bit more on that corner though. And then just go ahead and turn this right side out. Then you can point out your corners. Okay, now head to your pressing station and give this a good press. And then we're just going to baste this in here down. Okay, so do that for the front and also the back band, and we'll continue. Okay, so now I have my band. This is the front one. So you're gonna take your side faces and move them out the way, and you want to line up those notches first. Okay, so now we're just gonna head to the machine and we're gonna stitch this down using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now you want to pin and sew your back band the same exact way. Okay, so we have the band on the front and then also the band on the back. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the front. So I'm going to lift this back up, and then we're going to take the front facing and we're going to turn it onto the band just like this. I'm going to pin here. And then same on this side. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch about a 1/4 inch away from that seam, and then another 1/4 inch away from that seam. All right, so you want to do that for the front, and then also for the back. We want to flip this back like this. Okay. And we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to do those 2 rows of stitching and come back and we'll continue. Okay, so now we're back from the machine. First, I'm going to cut the corner just a little bit. Not too much. So now when you turn, it's going to have a finished edge like this. And then I'm going to do the other side. Now when I'm cutting this, I'm not cutting the double lines. I'm just trimming off a little bit. Gives a clean finish with that. And then also I want to note that I did understitching. I took my seam and faced it towards my facing, and then I edge stitch on the facing side, which is called understitching. So I understitch on that, and then now we're gonna head over to the pressing station, and we're gonna give this a good press. Okay, so once you give it a good press, you want to basically align the inside up. Show you real quick. You want to make sure that it's all lined up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin on the right side. The instructions might tell you to baste it. If basting is easier for you, you want to go ahead and just baste it down, and then you can remove those stitches after we top stitch. But for me, I'm just going to go ahead and just pin. Okay, and then also you want to lay the other one flat and press. You want to press the other side and lay it flat the same exact way. And then on the front side, we can just edge stitch that. And then also, and then we're going to top stitch about 1/4 inch above that seam right here, okay? Across the front and then also across the back, okay? So do that, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, so we're back from the machine. And if you look at the side, you see I have the top stitching all the way around, and then I have the top stitching all the way across. Here is about 1/4 inch away from that seam. And once you have all that, we can move on to the sleeve. Now for the sleeve, you have two options. You can turn under 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch twice and then top stitch around, or you can finish it off with the tuck. So basically, there is a fold line on your pattern right here, fold line on the sleeve. So you just want to find that, turn it wrong side out real quick. Okay, I'm just going to pin this in place for right now. I will hand stitch it off camera. Make sure your seams are open so it can lay flat. Okay. So whichever one you choose, you can go ahead and do that now. All right, so after you finish off your sleeve, you want to go ahead and just give this a good press, and you're all done. All right, congratulations. I hope you enjoyed this course. Now be sure to tag us on Instagram at Mimi G Style and also at Norris Delta Ford so we can see your amazing looks. All right, see you in the next one.